Hello, and welcome to Cathedral Ridge. This is our real winery webcam where we aim to show a year in the life of a real craft winery, and we'll go over all topics of winemaking and wine sales. And this is really when our calendar year starts. This is fall, it's harvest, it's very exciting. We haven't had a video for a while. We took summer off. The busy days and the sunshine made it hard to focus on anything but the tasting room and having a good time. But we're back. This is Mary. She's new to our team. She will hopefully be with us for a long time, and she's here to learn about harvest as well and to ask some questions. So welcome. As you can see, we're in one of our fermenting rooms. It's almost empty. One lone bin here in the back corner. Normally this room and others would be full of bins right now fermenting, but as everybody up here in Oregon knows, it was a late start this year, and we're definitely a few weeks behind. But yeah, it's exciting to have some grapes going. So
where are these grapes from?
These are from the Dalles. This is the Bankson vineyard. The cool thing about the gorge is that the climates vary dramatically. So right here we're at about 36 inches of rain. It's a cooler climate. We grow great Pinot Gris, great Riesling right on the property. But then as you head further east, the water level, or it dries up, gets a lot hotter. You get more of the Bordeaux style wines, the Cabs, the Merlots, the Syrahs from the Rhone. So this is a Syrah. Yeah, we just got it in on Saturday. All of the fruit we use is grown locally, so as you can see, it came from 20 miles away. And let's take a look at it.
Sounds good. Wow, that's got a really strong smell to it.
Yeah, a lot of CO2. You put your head in there too far and take a big whiff, you're likely to get lightheaded. But it looks great. The berries came in, nice small berries, tight clusters. And it's exciting. We're going to do a punch down. When the grapes come in, we first weigh them, and then we destem them and crush them, and then we pitch the yeast and we let the fermentation get started. But for the first day we don't touch them at all. So on Sunday they just sat back here closed and we let the yeast get nice and happy. But now that they've been fermenting for a few days, we have to do what we call punch the cap. As the yeast is converting the sugar into ethanol and CO2, that CO2 is rising to the top, and it brings all of these solids, the skins and the seeds, with it.
And so the sugar is what converts into the alcohol?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Sorry.
And is there a particular level of sugar that you need in the grape for wine, or that you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, you want enough sugar to make a nice full-bodied red wine. The bricks will be anywhere from 22 to 25 or 6 even. You know, they'll be under in really bad years or really cold years and over in really hot years. But yeah, I believe these came in at 25 bricks. And
okay, and what's a brick?
A brick, that is how we measure the sugar in the wine. 1 brick translates to 1 gram of sucrose, which is sugar, per 100 grams of solution. And so it's just a way for us to say how much sugar is in the wine, and then that will determine how much alcohol is in the wine and a lot of other characteristics.
Cool.
Yeah, and we'll actually measure the bricks here real shortly to let you see how that's done. But what we need to do is, because the CO2 is pushing all of these skins and seeds to the top, it's forming a cap, and if it's left too long, it's going to dry and get hardened. And that's no fun, because it can take a physical crowbar to break it at that point. But we want all the color and the flavor from the skins to be absorbed into the wine. So we have to resubmerge them, and we do it at least twice a day. And it's quite a workout. It's nice right now because there's only 1 bin, you know, but like I said, typically this time of the year, there could be 20 or even 30 bins going in here, and then it's a real workout.
Can I give it a try?
Yeah, come on up. Careful not to fall in. That has happened before.
Oh
and you don't,
gosh!
you don't need to go any further than just getting the cap,
wow,
the top wet.
That is crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of solid material in here, and it's going to make a very flavorful wine. So I'll finish this once we're not on camera, but once the cap is punched down, we like to make sure that the fermentation is progressing according to whatever schedule we have that fermentation on, and we do that by measuring the sugar. We'll see how much of it is left. So we're going to take a nice sampling of the must. We're going to separate out as much of the solids as we can. Try not to make too big of a mess.
So is that drinkable as it is?
It is drinkable, and when the juice comes in, it's delicious. It's nice and sweet. It's still got all of its sugar. This will still be nice and sweet since it's only a few days old, but it's going to be a little yeasty at this point and a little gassy with all the CO2 it's given off.
Ah. And so you guys are going to be displaying this or offering it up at the tasting room throughout the harvest?
Well, the grapes, yeah, as the grapes come in, we like to take clusters and we put them on the tasting room bar. So as you're tasting wines, you can try a Syrah grape next to a Syrah Syrah wine. It's a lot of fun. This is a hydrometer. It's going to measure the specific density of the must here, and the more that's in it, i.e. the more sugar, the more dense it is, and the higher this is going to rise. So we're going to give it a nice spin to kick off any air bubbles, and then we're going to see where it was. Like I said, these grapes came in on Saturday at 25 bricks. It looks like they're down to a solid 21 now. So they're definitely progressing. The fermentation is doing what it's supposed to, and we'll keep measuring it every day until the fermentation is done. That can take anywhere from 7 to 14 days depending on the temperature and the yeast strain and the varietal. We actually ferment to -2, which is a difficult concept to comprehend, but we'll go into that another day. Set this over here. And yeah, do you have any questions?
No, I think let's head out to the vineyard.
All right, let's go take a look at what's out here now. But these are some of the original grapes that Don Flerschinger planted in 1982. This is a Riesling. Like I said, inside we grow Riesling and Pinot Gris right here on the property, but all of the grapes we use are grown locally. Everything's from within about 25 miles. We need that heat out in the Dalles for the hotter reds. And the reason you want to use local fruit is just like if you ever picked an apple off of a tree, when you first bite into it, it's delicious, it's acidic, it's mouth-watering. The next day it's still pretty good, but after a week, it's starchy and dried out. The same thing with the grapes. The faster you get them started, the more flavor you're going to get in the wine. It's a product of a fruit like anything else, so letting it sit's only going to diminish that. But also, there are a lot of natural yeasts in the world, and if the grapes sit for too long, even a full day, those natural yeasts will start to go to work, and they're going to create their own wine.
Right.
And some natural yeasts make beautiful wines, but about 9 out of 10 make nothing but bilge. And then you're going to need to use a lot more of your own yeast to combat that and to take back over. And in winemaking, we're big believers that less is always more. You don't want to over ferment or anything else.
So what kind of grapes are these?
This is Pinot Gris. It's a beautiful grape. It makes a delicious white wine. It's a dry white here at Cathedral Ridge with a lot of pear and green apple flavors. You can see it's very closely related to Pinot Noir. It actually has a red color as opposed to the green color of a Chardonnay or a Riesling.
Can I pick one?
Yeah, feel free to taste it. We have gone through veraison almost completely. You'll see if you look closely in here that there are still some green grapes. Veraison is when the grapes actually turn from green to red. It's a sign that they are maturing and getting closer to being done. Once they start to develop enough sugar that the birds take notice, we have to put up this netting. And anybody that's gone a year without netting will tell you that the birds can do a lot of damage in about one day. They could probably, if left unchecked, wipe about 40% of this fruit off in 24 hours. So it's definitely not a joke.
The grapes are still kind of tart.
They are still tart. If they
good.
were sweet, they'd be ready. We're probably 3 weeks behind on the Gris, so there's still a lot more acid than there is sugar, and that's where you get that tartness. You're also going to want to watch for when the little stemules turn brown and crunchy, and you want the seeds to be nice and crunchy. These will all be picked by hand when the time comes. Yeah.
Very cool.
Any other questions?
How many grapes does it take to make a bottle of wine?
That's hard to say. It really depends on the varietal and the vineyard. The tighter the clusters, the smaller the grapes, the more you're going to get in each batch. But a nice good sized cluster like this might make about a full glass of wine. So with 5 or 6 of them, you're getting close to a bottle. I would guesstimate, just by looking at it, there's about 40 on that vine. So you could be up into the 8 or 10 bottle range. But then again, every fruit is different. You know, with a big heavy red like a Cabernet, where you want a lot of concentrated flavors, you might need to thin the vine down even further, so you're going to get less clusters and less bottles per vine, which, yeah, is one of the things that plays a factor in the price of the wine. You know, how much you can get out of a vineyard.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool, well thank you for sharing.
No problem, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with more interesting topics. We're going to come out here and actually do one of these sugar tests in the vineyard to see how close we are. And we will show another aspect of harvest. We did the punch down today, but we can do anything from the destemming and the crushing to a million other steps that have to be done. Not this weekend, but the next weekend is Harvest Fest out in Hood River. It's very exciting. It's a lot of fun. There is a lot going on in the vineyards and with the grapes and with other produce, you know, with pears especially. It's very delicious. So a good opportunity to come out for the weekend and get some local produce and drink some wine.